series I am going to start, and I would like to label it ASMR, which stands for Anime Saturday Morning Readings. So what I'm gonna do is that I am gonna pull up a fanfiction from fanfiction.net, and I'm gonna be doing it on one of my favorite anime series, which is from Sankarea, and it's called Midnight Angel by Crystal Moonlight 2. So prepare yourselves as I slowly bring the mic closer. Fuck. And we are back. And pretend you didn't see any of that happening. But yeah, so I'm gonna put her fanfiction in the links in the description below. And let's get started. So Midnight's Angel. The moon shone through the open window to Chihiro's room. The calming light it produces to seemingly form a great happiness for Ria. She laid upon his bed like a pale angel in the soothing glow, with the content smile on her face as she turned over onto her back. The low hum of the air conditioning filled her ears, the only thing she could hear in the stillness of night, not needing to sleep anymore. It caused Miss Sanka to get so bored in the late hours of night. Ria brought her ruby eyes down to gaze, carrying towards a familiar finger. A young man laid upon with blankets. He wore a t-shirt and shorts, his eyes restless, focused upon the pristine white ceiling. "Can you not sleep, Chihiro?" she asked in gentle consideration of her best friend's frustrated facial expression. "Nah," he replied bluntly. As he turned on his sides, he looked upwards to Ria. "I'm glad you're comfy, though. It would have been rude of me to put on the floor." Chihiro continued to gaze upon the young woman after he spoke. His eyes trailed upon her delicate pale features, her slender legs, and her smiling face. She wore a long and somewhat baggy nightshirt to keep her modesty hidden. "You don't look happy down there, though." Ria speaks softly out of concern. The young lady outstretched her hand to Chihiro and gave a beaming smile of great warmth. "We could share a bed. You might sleep better." The young man felt his face heating in a soft pink flush. His body froze for a moment as the thought of such an idea crossed his mind, sharing his bed with Ria. Just the thought was enough to make his heart race. It was sweet of her, but it didn't feel like the very courteous thing to do. He might be very fixated on zombies, but he was still carrying son of a priest, or just a little bitch. No, I'm just kidding. So It doesn't feel right. You're a lady after all, Ria. He smiled weakly in defense of his belief. I can take up your personal space like that. Nonsense, Ria, replied a chuckle and warm smile from his ear to ear. You're my best friend. Come on, take my hand. It was not much of a request. The woman of angelic white complexion simply brought her powerful, inhumane strength into play and gently pulled Chihiro up and onto the foot of the bed with little effort. You're scary strong, with the words the dark-haired gentleman uttered as he gazed shyly upon the beautiful Miss Ria. She chuckled her breath and brought these ruby eyes to rest upon the side of Chihiro. I'm sorry, said Ria playfully as she reached out to place a hand on his broad shoulders. I just couldn't have you freezing on the floor like that. I know we need to keep the air conditioning and everything. It's the least I can do for you. Chihiro stammered nervously. As long as you don't mind. The cold of Ria's hand caught him the slightest bit off guard, but he didn't make any kind of move to shy away. Ria Seika, the most popular and beautiful girl around, both in life and beyond that. Chihiro could not help but think about how pretty she looked when she was still among the living. Her eyes of deepest crimson only served to make her all the more beautiful now. The sound of Ria shuffling across the bed caught Chihiro's attention. She ever so slowly edged close to him in shock. His bodily tensed up, but the lovely girl with the silky black hair simply draped her along pale arms in Chihiro middle and pulled him close to her chest in a heartfelt cuddle. All the while, the undead girl smiled with such compassion. Thank you, she softly whispered in Ria's ear. Thank you, helping me be free. Those words, they reached out and touched Chihiro's deep in his heart. His nervousness to bring his close to a beautiful young woman vanished in mere seconds. It evaporated into thin air, and moments later he brought his arms to coil around Ria's middle and returned her hugs of affection. Cold Chihiro uttered quietly as he brought his head up to Ria's shoulder. Ria, oh, but you're so lovely. You're so sweet, Chihiro. Ria giggled softly as she cherished every moment of her deepest friend's closeness. His being so near to her like this, even though her heart didn't beat anymore, it made her feel so special. I'm so happy I met you, she continued with gratitude. I don't mind being cold like this, she admitted happily, because I never felt more alive than I met you. Me too, Chihiro spoke with great strength and commitment in words They truly came with hearts, and I didn't have much fight for in life before I found you. But now, he continued in a low, sincere whisper, I promise to protect you and give you the happiness and friendship you never had before. I can't cry, but I'm so happy. Rhea squeezed her arms around Jiro's middle just a little bit tightly and turned to softly give him a delicate kiss on the cheek. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You take such good care of me. The soft, icy tingle of Rhea's delicate lips upon his face. Chihiro felt it there for many moments after it was gone, but all the gone he did not forget that sensation. It made his heart flutter with such joy and overwhelmingly pride. A lone tear of joy escaped from the eyes of the priest's son. He gave small nods of happy reflection upon the moment and returned the same kiss to Rhea, but his was placed upon her lips, and it was far more than a little peck. If you get what I'm saying. His warm lips, what the fuck? I mean, lips, pressed softly against her delicate, cold ones, and all the while a little whisper of joy escaped from Rhea. Still unaware of her vast strength, she absent-mindedly pushed Chihiro down to the bed. As they both continued to share the embrace, a moist but subtle smacking of their lips together come forth in the moments of affection and bonding, but it was thankfully drowned by the low-sounding hum of the air conditioning unit. Time crept onward, time that neither one of the young couple were aware of, but they were eventually parted. Rhea sat upright with her gaze of deepest crimson, serenading Chihiro as his whole body shook with happiness, and the slightest shiver of the cold. You look amazing in the morning light, Rhea. He spoke in an honest and loving tone. Chihiro, the black-haired girl of the afterlife, replied warmly. If her heart could still beat, it would skip a moment. Funny jokes. Alas, in the glorious sight of the midnight moon, the glorious, gorgeous Rhea and her loving protector kissed again. The end. And now I'm gonna write a very loving and heartwarming review. So my name is Bleak Up, and my review about this fanfiction right here is that and send. Now, thank you guys for watching with my anime Saturday morning reading. And I hope to see you guys then in the next episode. See ya later.